while. Let's chop it up and chat about it. We need to see ourselves the way God sees us. And how many of you know that, or how many of you have found out that how you have described yourself, what you have always known about yourself, maybe what other people have affirmed in you, is not the you that God has recently shown you. Or maybe it's been a little time, you've seen it, but God had to show it to you. I was shocked when I saw me that God wanted me to be. I've always been a reserved person, quiet person, mild-mannered, still mild-mannered, I think. But I have gained some boldness to speak out. I've never been shy, but I have been quiet. Long time, quiet nature. And I think I'm still quiet nature. Unless it's something to be said, then again, I'm not shy about speaking up and saying what needs to be said. But at the same time, God has to do the revealing. We know our name, blood type, maybe, social security number. You know what family you grew up in, and you know your birthday, your personality type. You know, we get invested in those personality types. Like, what is some of them? Sanguine. That's the first one that came to mind. I think one is called, I'm thinking Phila. I'm not going to try it. Philanthropy? That don't sound right. But there's 4 personality types. Well, I've seen in psychological testings 4, and I think there's another psychological testing. They list about 6 of them, personality types, and people get very interested and invested in finding out what their personality types are. So you go further and also looking into your zodiacs and horoscopes. Are you all interested in those horoscopes? Finding out what is your personality type, how are you built, what are your proclivities, and you normally buy into it. And it's not necessarily a horrible thing. You had to have something before Christ. You had to have some type of identity, and whatever that seemed to be, you probably behave just like it. But at the same time, remember your rebirth story. Everybody has to have a first birth. That is what Jesus told Nicodemus. When Nicodemus said, how can I be born again? Can I enter my mother's womb again? He said, what's flesh is flesh. Let's leave these things separate. And what is spirit? Hello, thank you all for coming in. And what is spirit is spirit. So in our flesh, we do have an identity. It designs our old nature. It tells us something about ourselves. So that's not necessarily horrible. We have to have 2 births. Our first birth is natural, and our second birth is spiritual. So everything about ourselves, we have to learn it in our regenerated spirit in our new birth. And only God can introduce us to us. So that's what I said in the title is, God, show me what I look like to you. Who am I? Because contrary to popular belief, you have never, ever, you've never met you. You haven't met you, and you would not meet you until God introduced you to you. That sounds strange to you? Have anybody witnessed this? You've encountered this occurrence with God. He has to introduce you, or you won't meet you. You will stay tethered to your natural self in your anatomy and in your degenerated nature of how your family describes you, how your community describes you, and how you have affirmed yourself. And you stay far away from the person that God has designed you to be. You all hear the statement, now it's a popular term that, all these cliches that come about, and people use this one for somebody that might be good, a talented in sports, or a pianist, or they might be good, astute in academics, and they say, oh, that one's going to be a problem. That one's going to be a whole problem. Not a problem that's terrorizing their community or their environment. They're coming to destroy property and damage people. But they're saying that person is good at what they do. They're going to be a whole problem. So that's who you are in your regenerated nature. When you find out who you are and let God affirm you and validate you, you're going to be a whole problem. Now, your problem is for a good stance. It brings solutions. It brings calmness. It's in those anointings. And don't anointings destroy yokes? That's when you're getting into fellowship with God. Letting him anchor you. Letting him develop you. Spending that time, putting in that work. So that he can open up your eyes, the eyes of your understanding. Everything about God is sitting right here. Everything in this new kingdom. We become kingdom citizens to God's kingdom. We leave out of Satan's domain. Everything that we've learned about ourselves in Satan's regime, and come over to God's kingdom and start a brand new walk, a brand new understanding, just like a babe, a newborn baby, a little bitty kid. Now it's time to start exploring our new nature. This whole system right here, this whole existence. Now you have to start exploring and saying, God, what is this? It's like you start getting reborn, like the cartoon of, what is this, the snowman, Frosty the Snowman. Every time they put that hat on his head, he said, happy birthday. That's what we're doing in our regenerated nature. When we have to learn who we are, who is this specimen right here? God, what did you make me to do? What are my new capabilities? My superpowers, if you will. It's not real superpowers, but you didn't know it. You didn't know how to wield it. Now you still have to learn how to wield it and use it. Because we could be reckless, even with the gifts that God gives us. We all can be reckless. He has to teach you how to tame it and use it, and using it in its proper perspective. Take it everywhere that you go in life. You don't leave it at home when you go to work. You don't leave it at home when you go grocery shopping. You don't leave nothing about you nowhere. But at the same time, you're learning and you're testing out your new wings. You're getting your sea legs under you. Because this is the new you that you never met, that God is introducing you to. And while you show up to be a problem again, this problem is a good problem. But those that walk in darkness, dead understanding, they have not allowed God to open their eyes of their understanding yet, then they see you as a problem in a bad facet. Because you walk in wisdom. You speak on cue. You don't say anything when nothing needs to be said. You walk gentle. You don't come through intimidating and threatening. But when you speak, it seems like words flow out of your mouth and they just flow out of you, and ain't nothing but, it's like simple but yet profound words that come out. Like what? What caused you to say that? What told you to say that? Those type of things. And you ain't even trying. It's the power of God. Your spirit man that's growing. Remember, the spirit man has to grow and get stronger with our Father. While our natural man, our old nature gets weaker. Starve the old nature, he got to get weaker, while our new nature gets stronger. And that's when those prolific things will come out. When you're not even trying. You're not trying to be a show-off. You just showing up. You going to work. You going in the community. You around your family. You just doing you. But people around you will recognize it. They don't know what to call it. They just say, it's something about you. It's just something. They can't put their finger on it. You probably don't even recognize it until you start growing. And other spiritual people around you in your environment may point it out to you, because there's always somebody stronger in their walk. They've been walking with God longer than another person. That's what the whole system is about. The whole community is about. Everybody, there's strength in numbers. Everybody can help somebody else out. This is what you need to do. You need to spend more time with God. I was riding with some sisters one day. We went on a church trip, and we went to Durham, North Carolina. First time I have ever been to a, what was it called? A convocation. First time I ever been to a convocation. So I drove my car, and 3 of the ladies from the church rode with me. And we stayed there in a hotel. I think it was 3 days that we got a hotel for. So on our last day, we're checking out the hotel. Calm day. We're just checking out the hotel as normal now. We got in the car. After we, got loaded up, and we in a little, what do you call it? When vehicles trail each other. What is it? Come on. It's a simple term. What you trailing each other? Convoy. We're in a little convoy. And all of a sudden, I got this welling up in my chest. It got tight up in here. It wasn't hurting. It just felt like weight, no pressure. Felt the pressure, but again, not hurting, not painful. And it was increasing very slowly, very slowly. As we're driving, I'm feeling this. But it was a mixture of emotion. I felt like I wanted to cry, I wanted to laugh, and I'm just sitting there driving, and I'm not sharing it with anybody initially. Hello, thank you all for coming in. Hit that like button on your way in, you all. And so I'm just sitting there driving, and I'm feeling this because I'm wondering if it's going to pass. This is the first time I ever experienced this. So eventually, it wasn't dissipating. So I shared it with the ladies. I said, I got this strange feeling in my chest. It don't hurt, but it feels like my whole chest cavity, from my back to my chest, and it just stayed upper region above my belly button. And I just felt full. I said, I feel like I just want to pull the car over to the side of the road and run out in that pasture and jump and run and dance or do something. I don't know what to do with this. She said, God is talking to you. Just let him deal with you. So just kept driving. And this feeling, it stayed there for a while, maybe another hour or two, and it gradually went away. I didn't know what to do with that. First time I ever experienced it. Now, this was after the convocation. Next day, going to church. I went early. I went for the prayer meeting, a Bible study before church services. And I got weepy for some reason. That initial feeling never did come back. That was just a one-time thing. I never felt that again. But on Sunday morning, getting ready for church or Bible study, I felt weepy. Like I just wanted to cry. It didn't have no explanation for this wanted to cry thing. Got to church and still hanging around. Just want to cry. Just want to cry. Just want to cry. And I don't know what this is. So it did not release until church services got underway. And the minister asked if anybody who went on that trip wanted to get up and share their experience with your takeaways from the trip. So me and a couple of the ladies went up. When it got to me, I started talking, and it was a release, like a bubbling up started happening. And I just started talking. To me, it wasn't anything bad. I just started saying something, if I can recall it. It's been years ago, you all, years ago. And I said something to the effect that God is going to send people in here. The community is going to flood this place. And it will be standing room only. And if the people who attend these assemblies or events, if the word of God is not ministered to them, God is going to scatter. He's going to scatter these people who are attending this church. He's going to scatter them out of here. Now, I didn't get a time frame any of this was going to happen. Again, I don't know. And I didn't get up intentionally to say that. It just came on out. Within 6 months. Now, what was happening in the meantime? Let me go back and fill that in. What was happening in the meantime? The minister and his wife and a couple of the leaders, there's a little storefront church. Some different people wrote skits. Let me put it like that. Different people wrote skits. And after it was reviewed by the minister to get approved to have this skit, we practiced with the children, with the teenagers. The minister is a homegrown person there. His mother was a minister in the community. So this was a well-known family and well-liked family. So the community turned out in droves. People came out when the announcement went out that there was going to be those skits at that church. Oh, the people came. They came, and it was standing room only in this little storefront church. Now, I'm not saying this to be mean, you all. I'm not sharing this story to be mean. I'm just sharing an experience about how God has to open you up for him to do what he wants to do with you. We all become his vessel, a yielded vessel, so he can move the way he want to move. Use the voice the way he want to use the voice. Use the hands the way he want to use the hand. Take the feet where he want to take the feet. So the people liked the programs. We had about 4 or 5 of them. And each time the announcements went out, the people they were not slacking back. They came out to support. But the minister did not minister. There was no word going forth to challenge or encourage the people, just to play, just the skits happen. That's it. Just the skits happen and release the community. So within a 6-month period, different things organically happen. You had people who job shifts changed. Maybe so now if they worked on the night shift and they was able to attend day church, now their shift changed. They cannot attend day church because now they have a new shift. Some other person decided they're gonna move out of town and go and live with their sister for whatever their reason was. So it was just organically people was having lifestyle changes, and everybody, there's a storefront church, it wasn't that many people. Everybody got distributed. Everybody had to leave that place. When God speaks, and if you're a yielded vessel and be willing to say what God says. Now, even the minister's wife, after I got up and said that in the church service that morning, that God said he's going to send people packed in here, she told me, I didn't know what happened. The minister's wife said, woman of God, you prophesied, if you don't know that. And I did not know that. All I know is this just came up and come out from somewhere. And I did not say it to be mean, to be challenging, to fight. I didn't. Again, I just got up to say what I experienced from the convocation, my takeaways. So I don't want to go too far away from what I'm encouraging you all in. And I don't call myself a prophet, no prophetess, not over here. I don't say that. I say I want to be a follower of God. And however he used this vessel, use it. However he used this voice, use it. It's been sporadically since that time, and it's been years ago, I know 15 years ago that occurred. Sporadically, God have used my voice to say different things. I didn't know when it was going to happen, but I knew I would say, in the moment, I could feel it welling up in my mouth, like sitting back there on my jaw teeth or something. Something getting ready to happen. So at the same time, when God introduced you to you, when God validates you, it's not a human on this land can tell you who you are. They could tell you about your performance on the job. Can't get cocky. Can't get arrogant with God. Know where you go in life. No way, no how, he ain't having it. You must stay humble. Walk before God humbly. Because we got a natural walk. We had a natural atmosphere, a natural life to live. And those spiritual gifts, it will pop out at different times when he wanted to pop out. But at the same time, we kind of walk incognito. Your superpowers is at work like Clark Kent and Superman. Your Superman is in there while you walk around like Clark Kent every day. Every single day. And you don't always know when it's getting ready to pop out until you get to knowing your relationship with God and you feel it well enough. You say, something getting ready to happen. So it's the validation of God, because on a natural job and in organizational thing, yes, people can't tell you about your performance. That's just the right thing to do. But as far as who you are, when God open you up and reveal to you who you are, let you see you the way he sees you. Humans can't touch that. They can't touch this because that's God's business. And he don't want humans tainting with it. They don't toy around and touch nothing that belongs to God. He said, I will give my glory to no other. That's the soul man and how he wants to develop us. Hello, you all come on in, hit that like button on your way in. So I wanted to share that with you all today. If that could be a testimony to anybody, and I know my testimony is not any better than anybody else. You all have your own testimonies, and probably if I heard y'all's testimony, it would blow my wig back. Woo! There's some beautiful testimonies out here in the land. Just hearing how God develops and bring a person through and show them up and show them to themselves and just move throughout the community, because God's gifts is for the earth. It's not for churches necessarily. It could be used in church, but God's work is for the earth, because people need to be delivered. People need to be healed. They need to be set free. People need encouragement. And he wants to use a vessel to come across their path to bring that encouragement. People are ready to take themselves, unalive themselves, and all he needs is a willing vessel. Said, go into the harvest. Pray he send laborers into the harvest. That's supposed to be a person he done broke down, break you down, and then sit you back up. Said, now, go speak what I want you to speak. Go speak to who I want you to speak to. Say to that one what I need you to say to that one. And just lend your voice. Don't say what you want to say now. Draw me closer to deeper waters. Come on, come on. That's what I'm talking about. And that deep waters again, oh my goodness. Because many times we got to be drugged. That's what God do with the vessel. Because we live in this human flesh. And we can get beside ourselves. He got to drag us. Well, we feel like, God, what you doing to me? What are you doing with me in my life? Do it even feel like love? Well, we understand as we grow with God, God's love don't really feel like what Satan's love feel like. Satan's love is an emotional type love. And we all can identify with that. But God's love can feel like God has abandoned you sometimes. Although he hadn't, he's not abandoning God. If we separate from God, we walked away from God. But God's love, again, is to root out this world out of us. Root out our affections for our own carnal life out of us so we can be ready for the master's use. Because of a dying world. Because there's so much darkness and so much death in understanding. Not a physical death all the time. There's a dead understanding in the land. But God's light has to be beacons of light that's shining like little flickers. And when he says move, be ready to be employed like a soldier. He got to deploy you and go on mission. Like you may be sitting in your house. You ain't had no plans to go into the grocery store today. You're probably just sitting, you chilling today. But if you say go to the store, you hear that in your spirit. You don't know what you're going over there for. You didn't plan on going shopping today. Today is not shopping day. But going to that store, you don't know what you're going there for. And you just walking through the aisles with your shopping buggy. You still listening for Holy Spirit. Give the next set of instructions. You might even walk through that store and don't nothing happen the whole time you there. But you don't see that assignment or hear that assignment in your spirit until you got back on that parking lot headed to your vehicle. And you spot them. There it is right there. When we hear God so you can move how he wants you to move. Because a dying world is looking for the manifestation of the creature. Is that you? Are you the manifested creature that the dying world is looking for? Your neighbors are looking for it, although they don't know they're looking for you. Your family members are looking for you, although they're rejecting you. They're looking for you. You just have to be patient, be willing to be talked about. I said I'm going to put this up on TikTok today, this little part right here. Are you willing to be called ugly and you not crash out? Because if you can't be, now I'm not saying just let people dog you out and misuse you. You can't volunteer to be misused. But what I wanted to say is, you got many times take things on the chin. You cannot fight every battle. You should not have a return word for everything somebody else say. Because God is still training you. Remember, we're on a training ground. And if you don't allow him to bring you through deep waters, like the who was that who said that was my light is shining on my phone, so I don't want to mispronounce your name there. I'm trying to see if I can see. Brasley, is it Bailey? Last name Bailey? When you're going through those deep waters, because God is trying to root out and transition you and keep on moving us through our own soul for the deliverance so we can be ready and fit for the fight because we're soldiers, then you got to be ready for people to hurt your feelings. You got to be ready for people to say cruel, rude things. And you're not volunteering to be misused. You don't just put up with anything, but you can't respond to everything. That's where I'm going with that. We got to be a soldier, ready to be used, because people talking out of understanding that they have. You can only use what you got. So those with a darkened understanding or lessened understanding, or I would say an unevolved understanding, they're gonna say mean things to you. They're gonna say hurtful things to you. And you just have to be ready to hold your tongue, hold your peace. So that when the time of encouragement and deliverance comes, you're not too offended. You're not too bent out of shape that you can't still work for God. You can't, your feelings is not so smothered or hurt that you shut yourself down and say, I ain't got nothing to say to him. No, not me. God could pick somebody else. Well, you might start off like that. We each on a journey, but at the same time, the more he pushing you out the way in your old nature and strengthening your new nature, you can sit back and take a little something. You can take a little something. So I want to, again, I'm going to jump off of here. I want to encourage you all in that. Ask God to open your eyes and let you see you the way he sees you. You need to see that person. You already see the one you are now, the one that your family and community have told you about. You got that one. That one is under wraps. But let's look at this new one. That's the one that's a whole problem. You all take care. Thank you for stopping by the video.